Okay, this might seem like a weird time of year to do a Christmas movie video, but I'm cold and South Dakota's cold because Alaska's drunk and they need to come get their weather. I was going to go hammocking today, but clearly that didn't work out. Oh well. So we're just going to talk Christmas movies while I drink my tea. So I have a pretty non-traditional Christmas movie marathon list that I like to do every year. Or try, I don't know, think about every year. I don't actually always watch all these every year, but that's okay. I put them on my phone finally so that I would not forget that they exist and what my list is. I try to branch out and grow it every year. Okay, number one on the list, you always start with Home Alone. Classic Home Alone. We used to watch that one growing up because when we lived in the Middle East and you didn't get snow, you didn't really even get cold weather. And so Mom always got really homesick for snow. And so you watched Home Alone at Christmas, which I don't argue with. It's a great Christmas movie. And then you watch the second one, Home Alone 2. And then we forget that any other version of Home Alone ever existed. Because, yeah, just Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2. And then Die Hard. Yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It takes place on Christmas Eve into the early morning hours of Christmas Day. And yeah, I will defend it as a Christmas movie. One of the greatest Christmas movies. As long with Die Harder, because Die Hard also takes place on Christmas. So yeah, Die Hard and Die Harder, both of which, yes, are Christmas movies. Not that you have to watch them only on Christmas, because they're great movies aside from that. Narnia. So I need to make a video on my issues with the Chronicles of Narnia movies. But The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, as produced by Disney, 2005, was actually fairly well done. And it has Father Christmas in it. It was released around Christmas, I think. So therefore, I will consider The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe a Christmas movie. And we can watch that one and then forget that the others were ever made. But that's a whole nother video. But I mean, it's Narnia. And if you don't want to watch it, you can always do, my cousins and I, my whole extended family got in on this years and years ago. We were at my grandparents' ranch and it was cold outside. And so inside, what are you going to do? So we picked up The Magician's Nephew, actually. I think it was around between Christmas and New Year's. And we read the whole thing together. We just passed it around and every person read a page or two out loud. And then you just passed it to the next person. And it worked its way all the way around the living room. And it was so much fun. And I need to see if I can rope my cousins into doing that again one of these times. The problem is that the time that we usually have together nowadays is so limited that you gotta be picky how you spend it. But that would be a fun way to do The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Little Lord Fauntleroy. So there was a version made with Alec Guinness, the original Obi-Wan, and he was in a version of Little Lord Fauntleroy where he plays the grumpy grandfather, and he was so adorable and cute. It was a really good movie. And it ends with a big Christmas celebration, so it's a Christmas movie. Yeah, if you haven't watched it, you need to check it out. Little Women, and yes, I'm talking about the 90s version specifically with Winona Ryder. Grew up watching that with my sisters, and so it's a very sister Christmas movie, and it doesn't end with Christmas, but it starts with Christmas. The whole beginning is winter, so it's a Christmas movie. Muppet's Christmas Carol. So this is not one that I grew up watching. I actually was terrified of the Muppets when I was little. I remember watching the advertisements for it on some VHS tapes. I don't know if it was on the Lion King VHS tape. Anyways, I remember watching the advertisements for it. but never actually watched it until I was older, and now I love it, and it is the best version of A Christmas Carol ever, and I think Charles Dickens would agree with all of us that it's one of the best versions of A Christmas Carol, because it's just that great. That's Michael Caine. Who doesn't love Michael Caine as grumpy old Scrooge? He's so adorable. And along with that, The Man Who Invented Christmas, which has Dan Stevens, and it's about Charles Dickens writing A Christmas Carol. And it's a, completely fictional account of him writing it, but it's a really, really fun movie, especially if you are an author and you are a writer and you understand like the thought process that's going into writing it and how the characters appear to him and he interacts with the characters as he's trying to write the story. It's hilarious. I love those aspects of it. And the music is really, really fun too. I liked the music in that one. Rise of the Guardians. Yes, it is a Christmas movie. It has all of it. It has Jack Frost. Yes, it has the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny in it, but it is a Christmas movie. It's set in the winter. Yeah, and it has Father Christmas. And I really like the portrayal of Father Christmas, which I think is more of the old school tradition of him being more fierce and being more a protector of children rather than just the modern stereotype tradition of him being this fat, jolly old soul, which is not wrong necessarily. And I think Rise of the Guardians did a good job of portraying him both ways. He can be happy and fun and jolly, but he's also a very fierce protector of children. White Christmas. So I think I might be one of the only people in my family who likes this movie. So I hardly ever get to watch it when I was living at home. I hardly ever got to watch it. My dad really liked it, so there you go. Dad and I can watch it together. It's a good movie, good old-fashioned Bing Crosby and Danny Kaye movie. Like, what's not to love about that? Unaccompanied minors. So I fell in love with this one watching it with my siblings. I think we rented it on a random whim for one of my sister's birthday parties when they were little, having a sleepover. And it is hilarious if you haven't watched it. Yeah, absolutely love that movie. And now it's kind of become a tradition to watch it every year with my younger siblings when I get home for Christmas. And we all watch it together. And it is so much fun. So the little Beatrix Potter series that they made during the 90s, the little animated, we're not talking about the new stupid James Corden videos, movie things that were just awful and a disgrace to the tradition and the beauty and the artwork of Beatrix Potter. You shamed it. You disgraced. The 90s, a little animated series where all the drawings are based off of Beatrix Potter's actual drawings. So all the little animations are really, really adorable and cute. And there was one, The Tailor of Gloucester, where the little mice save the tailor by sewing the coat while he lies ill. And it's a really, really cute one. And I used to love watching it all the time when I was a kid. And then Doctor Who has some really weird Christmas episodes, and then they have some really fun ones. I really like The Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe. It's kind of a play on The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And it's a really, really cute little episode. I really liked it. And The Snowman, when he first meets Clara, or I guess the second episode featuring Clara, it is a really, really cute one as well, with really creepy snowmen. But, and then you have the Librarians TV show, and they did a fun episode called Santa's Midnight Run. And it was a really, really fun episode. I liked the way it played on the idea of the different incarnations of Santa and the different traditions of Santa throughout history, and how Santa is kind of this immortal being that kind of switches between these personalities based on what situation he's in. And it's kind of fun because one minute he's happy Santa in the soup kitchen, and the next moment he's Odin in a bar having a bar fight. It's kind of funny. And then you have Warehouse 13, and they did 2 fun episodes called Secret Santa and The Greatest Gift, which is kind of like their version of It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life. I remember watching when I was a kid and thinking it was super, super boring. And I haven't watched it as an adult. I need to go back and watch it to see if it's as boring as I remember, or if I'd like it and appreciate it more as an adult. Is there anything on here that I've missed? Yep. Nope, not seeing anything. That is my list of all-time favorite Christmas movies. Maybe I'll do one of Christmas movies that I hate. So this was also partially inspired because I watched The Authentic Observer, Galatea, her video on the problem with Christmas movies. And I actually really agreed with her on a lot of her points. And it really made me think about the way that we portray Santa and Christmas as a whole in modern culture, especially in America. And I mean, I didn't grow up believing in Santa at all. My mom, when she was little, and then her parents told her that like Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy weren't real, she felt betrayed, like she had been lied to her whole life. And it may have been that my grandparents didn't do the greatest job of kind of balancing that out with this isn't true, but it's kind of a tradition that we're going to play with. And so my parents, partially because for religious reasons, because we believe that Christmas is about the birth of Jesus, and partially because my mom didn't want us to feel trauma of finding out that Santa wasn't real. Sorry. Yeah, so they didn't want us to go through that. So, I mean, we would read The Night Before Christmas. We knew the tradition of Santa, but it wasn't one that we did or, write letters to Santa or anything like that. I watched her video on Christmas movies the other day and really started to think about it. And then I watched The Tailor of Gloucester but watching Galatea's video on that made me start thinking about my list of Christmas movies and why it is that I like these movies. And I think it's because a lot of them are not traditional Christmas movies, or the way that they portray Christmas or the way that they portray Santa Claus is different, and it's not this, well, most of them, it's not this modern commercialized version of Christmas, and that's not what I want to watch. So those are my favorite Christmas movies, but I'm always open to expanding the list. So, what are your favorite Christmas movies? Put them down below.